Hey everybody, Al Puglisi Trains, and I'm over at Jim Kleeman's house. Is that pronounced Kleeman, right?
Yes, you got it.
And it's a beautiful Santa Fe HO scale model railroad. And over here is Alex Kohler. How you doing, Alex?
Back again?
And I'm going to stop talking. And we're up in an attic, and it's really interesting the way Jim did this attic. Tell us about the size of the attic, Jim.
The attic is 22 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
It's 13 feet wide, but I got a bump out with the dormer to 17 feet over on part of the wall to my right that you can't see yet.
Okay, and I'm going to start the tour with coming up the stairs, what you see before you come into this beautiful room. So let me stop talking. All right, folks, usually I like walking down the stairs, or in this case, walking up the stairs. I always love to see the stairways of model railroads I go to. So I noticed this beautiful display of Santa Fe. Tell us about it, Jim.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Santa Fe, as you can tell, and I really enjoy building models.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the models that I buy that are off the shelf that don't have all the Santa Fe details that are normal, I will add those.
Okay.
I often repaint the locomotives to more accurately reflect the era that I'm modeling.
Okay.
Because that's a real big part of my joy of model railroading. It's actually the modeling itself.
Now, what years do you model on the Santa Fe?
Basically, my railroad is set in September of 1995,
Mm-hmm.
just before the Santa Fe and the Burlington Northern merged.
Okay. And we looked at some of these, and some of these you custom painted. Why don't we let's point to the ones you custom painted.
Okay, well, this is an Atlas, or I'm sorry, an Athearn blue box
Mm-hmm.
that I rehabbed and painted.
Wow.
Over here this was an Athearn Genesis with one of the units that the Santa Fe got from Amtrak.
Mm-hmm.
But they found that the Amtrak engineers and the Santa Fe engineers had a different idea about how the front end should work, and the Santa Fe guys wanted to get in through the front door.
Mm-hmm.
So in here, Santa Fe put a notch in. I couldn't find a ready-to-run model that had that notch. They do have them.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I had to do that myself, and you can see the difference in the paint between the new notched portion that was spray painted and the older paint
Right.
that had worn a little bit and weathered, and they just left it the way it was.
Wow.
And I've got some photos of a locomotive that look just like that, so I did my best to reproduce it.
Now, this guy up here, number 356, he's a
That's a U-28CG,
Mhm.
and towards the end of the Santa Fe passenger service, they replaced their F units with some of these units that were used for a short period of time, and then they were converted to freight and repainted yellow and blue.
Now, is this one a Genesis or brass? Or?
That's Atlas.
Oh, Atlas.
That's Atlas, yeah.
And it came painted? You didn't have to?
Yeah, I haven't done anything to that locomotive except put a different plow on, because the plow that was on the model ready to run was just not accurate.
The detail's exquisite.
Yeah.
And
They
then
did a great job.
these guys,
The Bicentennial units, those are Athearn Genesis,
My
and they're
goodness.
right out of the box. I didn't have to do anything to those guys.
God, they're very nice. Most of what you run is a mix of Atlas and Athearn, or?
Athearn Genesis, Atlas, and Cato. Those are my three favorite brands. They seem to run very well together. I do have some older F units that were the Stewart F units, mostly actually produced by Cato and then branded by Stewart.
Oh,
and
wow.
when I turn the clock back about 30 years, I'll run these guys.
Wow. Well, let me pause it and let's show you an overview of the layout. All right, so this is what you see when you first come in. Let me just pan. Alex, wave. You're way back there.
Hello, I'm here.
And it's just a beautiful room. And we're going to walk around and let Jim talk about it. And come on back in the
Okay.
pan here, Jim, and we can kind of just do a walk around tour real quick. Show us what we got going on.
All right. Well, behind this tunnel is a staging yard that represents Clovis, New Mexico.
Mhm.
I haven't tried to duplicate any specific location on the railroad, but just give it a general feel of somewhere on the transcon in the southwest. So the trains enter the railroad here.
Okay.
This town here,
Let's go down this way.
this is Argonia, New Mexico, and I named all my towns in alphabetical order to help the operators.
Oh wow, this station's beautiful. Did you scratch build this station?
No, I think that's American model something or other. That's about 15 years old, but it represents something similar to the Santa Fe's county seat depots with a stucco overlay.
And this, what town did you say this was?
This is Argonia, New Mexico.
Argonia, New Mexico.
Argonia, New Mexico. Yeah, and here's, you can even see the little sign. It says Argonia right there.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. I don't want to hit anything.
And here's a few locals over here.
What's the population here? 6?
I
7?
think right now it's 3. The 2 hobos and the Santa Fe maintenance guy over there.
Good God,
By
man.
the Suburban.
Look at that flickering flickering fire here, man. There's some Indians, but we'll show you those later. Yeah, man, we're out in the middle of nowhere here, Jim. A town has to have more than one building. This has what, the station and maybe 2 buildings?
Right. Well, you know, you're standing in what could be the middle of the town here in the aisle.
Okay.
Right. Basically, we have a team track over here.
Okay.
And then we have a co-op facility which loads grain and and unloads propane for distribution to the locals.
Wow, this is beautiful. Very well done. There's some cattle back there. All right, where are we going to go next?
Well, let me just point out the tunnel here. That goes
Okay.
to the PEG's energy generating station.
Okay.
So coal trains will go in there,
Okay.
and then empties will come out.
All righty. And we'll be running some trains soon.
Yeah, we'll be running some trains.
All right, where do we go now?
Well, this is what I call Belen. This is the main yard for the railroad.
Okay.
I've got an engine servicing facility here with power to add if we need helpers,
Wow.
or power for the local that runs out of here that goes west.
Did you custom paint some of these guys in here?
Well, that Santa Fe SF30C was a major kit bash. It's the one, the Kodachrome scheme there.
Oh, is it?
Nobody manufactures that model. So I had to do, that one right
That
there.
one.
I had to do a lot of work on that one with some custom computer etched parts that my son made for me, as well as a lot of styrene, and then detail parts.
That started life as Atlas or Aethern?
That's an Atlas. It was a U36C, which is what the Santa Fe used to rebuild into the SF30Cs.
Wow, this is beautiful. All right, and the town, let me just pan into this town
I
back
think there are more
here.
than 3 people in the town that be
Yeah.
listening
Oh,
here
yeah.
now.
Yeah. So this is Belen. This is a division point. There's Betty's Ore House, which is modeled after Betty's Ore House in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
Here we have a crew over here working on rehabbing the old hotel in town
Santa Fe.
with the Santa Fe logo on the top.
Oh, yeah, they're rehabbing the bottom floor there. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay.
There's a representation of the Santa Fe station in Belen, New Mexico, that I scratch built.
Oh, wow.
And then we have the crew shack there with the crew member going in, EOTs.
Speaking of scratch built, the weathering on these freight cars is beautiful. Are some of these kits or scratch built? Or
This is anything from Athearn Blue Box to the Atlas cars, some cars from Walthers.
right.
I'm not a big fan of spending $60 for a freight car because the little parts get broken. So I love to buy inexpensive cars and do the details myself. Most of these grain hoppers have got Plano walkways on them that really make a difference.
Right. You
because
add
you can
these,
see through them. Yeah.
and you add these details.
Yeah, I add those details.
And the weathering's exquisite.
Yeah, and most everything gets weathered.
Wow. Do you use airbrush or pastels?
I'll use airbrush, I'll use pan pastels, and I'll use Tester's paint or True Color paint with a very fine brush to do some of the rust staining and the drips.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a nice car. This was a Northwestern Walthers air slide hopper. It's one of my favorites in terms of how the weathering turned out.
Yeah. Oh, look at the rust pits.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Yeah. Wow, there's an interesting unit. What do they call these guys here?
Well, that's a slug unit. The Santa Fe would mate those with an SD39. I think they had a set like this in Argentine, which is in Kansas City. But that's an SD39, which they mated. This is a SD24 that was made into a slug. So I took an old Atlas SD24 and took apart the shell and manufactured that shell right there.
I learned something every day. I had no idea these were called slugs. And there's a station back here. It's a beautiful little station. What station's this?
Well, that's a Santa Fe prototype. And it's a laser cut kit. And I don't know who made that. It's been a while since I built it.
Jim, tell us about this fertilizer facility.
That's a fertilizer distributor, and that's another laser cut kit. I'm not sure who made that one. I did some additional work on it. I put a styrene roof on it that looks like one of the metal roofs instead of just the laminate that they had. All those fertilizer labels on those bags, I pulled off an advertisement on the web and resized them and printed them out and individually glued them on the visible bags.
Wow, and then we're paying over, there's a neat little gas station here.
Yeah, that's a City Classics that's been modified. I drove from Chicago to Southern California on Route 66 years ago, and that just reminded me of some of the things that I saw on that trip, and I wanted to recreate it. Wow. That diner is scratch built, and this Grand Valley Contractors building is basically plastruct kit parts that I put together. And
then way up here in the corner what is this?
That's a co-op facility. That's grain loading for the covered hopper cars on the right. And then on the left we've got the silos. And then they also load flour into air slide hoppers.
Wow. And we can come down and let's just pan across. And you did such a nice job. The scenery, did you paint this yourself, the backdrop?
Yes, I painted the scenery by trial and error. I spent a lot of time in the Southwest, so I had an idea what it should look like, and eventually I got close enough to be happy with it.
Wow, yeah, it's beautiful. I'll show you some more of that. And what do we have back here?
This is a petroleum distribution facility. This was another pandemic project. Originally, this was a spur with a little valley in the middle here that I completely rebuilt it and used some Walthers kits to build the tanks. I think the big tanks were actually scratch built. And everything else is Walthers with some modifications.
And we'll come around and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about the scenery, folks. Let me just pan over here. And it looks like you hand laid all this track.
Yes, I did. I built this railroad as therapy for my work, as a place to relax and slow down, and hand laying the track I thought would be a good way to do that, and I really enjoyed it.
And this bridge scene, this is magnificent. Tell us about this scene here.
Well, there's a couple locations on the Santa Fe that have bridges similar to this, and my idea was to again try to just recreate that general look. The backdrop is something I painted. It actually was modeled on photos of Abo Canyon, which I've rail fanned a number of times.
Wow.
That's a Campbell wooden trestle there.
And we were joking that might be you collecting these rocks. You went out to the desert.
Might be, yeah. The soil on this layout is soil harvested from the Mojave Desert on one of my numerous trips. Well, actually, I've harvested on a couple of trips because the layout keeps requiring more and more soil. But that's the basic ground cover on this layout.
So the stone and the soil.
The stone and the soil, and I will filter the soil and the gravel with a number of different grades of screening. So I get large, medium, small, very small, and then the dust, which is basically the soil like we have down there.
Yes.
It's a perfect representation of what I'm looking to recreate.
Because it's from the area you're recreating.
Yes, it's from the desert.
Yeah. And the hand laid track is all what, code 83?
No, it's code 100. I started building this layout in 1981, 82. So it's old school, code 100, twin coil switch machines.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I like code 100 because it's less problematic, I think.
Well, in the Santa Fe main line had really heavy rail. This is still a little larger than it should be to be accurately scaled, but
it looks good. It looks like code
good
83.
and it runs well.
And this facility here in the center,
that's a sand and gravel facility that loads for the locals. And then I've got a mine that's hidden away that you don't see, and they drop off a couple of hoppers of coal for the Apache Railroad up the way every so often, and they get picked up there.
And then we have the facility coming into, this is another section of the layout.
Yeah, this is Hereford. This is the end of the model section, and I moved to the Apache Railroad a few hundred miles east from Holbrook and Snowflake to here, and this job will work the plant here with the two Alco C424s.
Wow.
And then run into Belen to interchange with the Santa Fe and then come back with its loads and work the plant again.
And these cars are beautifully weathered and with pastels and all different kinds of methods you use.
Yeah, I've used pan pastels. I'll use some solvent-based paint like Flocal to do the rust in particular. Get a little bit of lacquer thinner to then streak the rust down the side of the cars.
Wow. This is just really pretty through here. This is the end of the Apache line, and
then the main line for operations ends here.
Okay.
Continuing into that tunnel that then goes through that ridge, and that's basically a reverse loop that comes back out at the end of that large ridge, and that's how I turn the trains between the sessions.
Yeah, we're seeing the Chief now.
Chief Apache.
Now these are metal figures you found.
Those are metal figures I got decades ago.
Wow.
that I painted. The Santa Fe had a very close association with Indian tribes in the region, and I thought there should be some of that Native American influence on my railroad. So
Wow.
There they are.
Oh, it's beautiful. All right, guys, so tell us what we're going to run.
Okay, we're going to run a coal train, a Powder River coal train that runs over the Santa Fe to one of the energy plants online. And it's going to come out of the staging yard here at Clovis, and we can run it through the entire loop of the track around the room until it gets up to the end of our operation level.
And actually we're talking about some bald face or white face what are these things called?
So I mean, I love Santa Fe. Who doesn't love War Bonnet? Anything Santa Fe, and I like BN, but I'm not a big fan of the generic BN Cascade Green with just the black. What I really like is the Tiger Stripes, which is an orange and black striping on the front of steering cab EMD diesels. But my real affinity for BN are the white faces they added to some of the Jeeps, the SDs, and then some of the Triclops, ST60s, and they had some wide cab ST60s, and especially if you get those in the snow or whatever, this is really brings it out, and I'm really a fan of the Whiteface Burlington
But
Northern.
are we going to run some whiteface stuff
Oh, yes.
here?
We're going to run. That's what we're going to run
Yes.
here.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know what the hell y'all were talking about. Now down here we've got a control.
Okay.
It's Digitrax, and then up here we've got live cameras.
This is how you watch your train enter or exit the yard up here.
Wow. All right, let me pause it and let's start the running session.
Okay, now.
I see it.
Get the sounds going.
Fast moving freight.
Black diamonds.
Is that what it is?
Coal, yes. Powder River coal.
These are white faces.
Yep. Whiteface going to go in the SD40-2. There we go.
These are Atlas or Genesis?
Those are Cato.
Katos.
Yeah, all three are Cato. All three have been repainted. Ditch lights added to 2 sets.
You've noticed Al, the third unit, the standard BN I was talking about, there's no whiteface. It's standard Cascade green and black on the third unit there.
Okay. Train greatness, desert greatness.
He's on his way.
He's on his way.
EMD greatness.
EMD greatness on Al Puglisi trains. Not a Coyote, not a Roadrunner, not a... just out in the middle of nowhere. Wow, look at it crossing that bridge. What a scene.
What about an Arizona blonde tarantula, or Arizona brown, whatever they're called?
Here we go.
EMD shakes the same amount of
EMD
shoes.
greatness. Rolling through the desert. EMD greatness. Plowing through the desert as the crow flies. I don't see the Coyote and I don't see the Roadrunner.
A train scared away.
The train scaring them away going over this great bridge scene. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful scene. Going over the bridge. Wow. Here she goes. Wow, what a scene.
Got a bunch of different color hues going here. You got your
Cut.
reds, your oranges, your greens, your whites.
Cutting through the desert.
Yep.
And there's a flashing ELT on the rear.
Triple-headed greatness. You know, I'm so used to Appalachia and East Coast. This is very refreshing to see some West Coast.
Midwestern railroading.
Yeah. This upper track behind the city now, behind the town, as it disappears.
Now we're on the high line. That's been a rail fan along the way there.
It's a beautiful shot.
Yep. That's my big co-op facility over here.
Oh yeah. Nice long runs, Jim. The way you have this set up. Nice long runs. Do you have a track diagram we can show?
No.
That's okay.
I did 20 years ago when I built it.
Folks, a lot of people ask me, why didn't you give me a track diagram? And that's why. I don't have a track diagram on my layout either.
Well,
so
you're seeing it real time right now.
you're seeing it in real time. So
it's better than looking at a piece of paper.
that's right. That's absolutely correct.
The track diagram has come to life here.
This is a real track plan.
Yes. Nice broad sweeping curves there.
Wow. That's a beautiful scene right here. Holy moly.
So he's coming to the end of his run there, Al, shortly.
All right.
Areas can become quite congested some days.
That's right.
All tracks full of trains. Greatness.
And this is where she's going to stop.
Yep. The terminus.
The terminus. Absolutely gorgeous.
Genesis.
All right, folks, these are SD75
M's.
M's, and they're made by Athearn Genesis. And let's start them up and take them on a little journey.
There we go. There's the warning bell.
Classic Santa Fe war bonnets. Look at that, man.
Yep.
On Al Puglisi trains. Classic.
Those are your first war bonnets, I think, Al.
Yeah, these are the first war bonnets ever filmed. Well, we had a war bonnet cleaning track on Howard's layout, but that's
Well, yeah, but
that's not the
This
same.
is a real war bonnet layout. though.
Right,
That's the difference.
right. This is the difference.
That was
Big
a war
difference.
bonnet on Howard's.
Yeah. This scene here is Santa Fe greatness right here. Look at that. As it crosses this
Picks up speed.
and picks up speed. Boy, these things are smooth. They run smooth, like silk. Are these engines still in service on the Santa Fe?
Well, the Santa Fe is no longer. There's still a few of them on the BNSF.
Okay.
In fact, I saw some about 2 years ago on the trash train in the Columbia River Gorge.
Oh my gosh.
Going from hauling high-end electronic products to garbage out of Seattle.
Good God. Everything has its day. Yeah. Hold on. Everything has its day. And these out of the box look like this with the details.
The handrails on these were not very good. They're really thin, fragile plastic that warped, so I put brass handrails on there.
Okay.
And LED lighting.
Oh wow. Just enjoy your favorite beverage, folks, and watch some Santa Fe trains running through the desert. That's what we're talking about on a Friday night here.
Hopefully we'll get some Santa Fe nuts, make some comments from this video. We're so used to seeing all the same Eastern stuff. But
This is such a beautiful scene here.
I see the rail fan with the camera.
Folks, here's a rail fan with the camera there. That's me in HO scale. Yeah, man.
Loving every minute.
I'll catch the tail end of this for you. I do not drive this car. I drive a Challenger. Now we're down on the lower level from the upper level. So this thing is a blended, almost a blended double decker. It's not a bi-deck layout.
No,
It's
no,
a blended double
not.
decker.
It's not. I seriously considered when I went to the Santa Fe version of this layout to put in another deck, but the problem was I needed to leave access to the windows for an air conditioner.
I like this the way it is. It's beautiful, and it goes from one level to another without a helix,
Right. Yeah.
so you don't need it.
Brakes.
Boy, that paint scheme's pretty.
Yep.
It just is.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
Now we're done with that. You guys shot them on the live stream if you want, Al.
All right.
Show them how the this hidden staging yard works at Clovis.
So this train has gone into staging, and you say it's going to come in around track 1 on the left?
There he is.
On track 1.
On the right, there it is.
And it's a big reverse loop, so it'll disappear and then reappear on the left side on track 1, ready for the next op section.
Oh wow, that's And that's all done under in staging.
Yes.
Very interesting.
So just wait and we'll see him on the left side there, Alan, just a couple seconds.
Yeah, number 1 on the right and
Number 1 on the left.
and number 1 on the left. And I'm not waving the
Yeah, the
unit.
fan is-
The ceiling fan is causing this thing to wave, so I'm not a drunken sailor. Yep, I see it on the other side. Jim, how did you do the rock castings?
It's not rock casting, it's carved. I built a framework out of lattice plywood, cardboard strips, and then covered it with paper towels and trash bags that were supportive. And then I dipped paper towels in hydrocal to make the shell.
Okay.
And I put on about an inch of plaster and then gradually carved away what I didn't want,
Okay.
like a foot at a time, working my way down this ridge until I got to the end, and then I tried to blend in the paint. And this is somewhat reminiscent of the Santa Fe main line near North Guam, New Mexico. Although my wife, the geologist, says this is not really sandstone.
Well, what did you color it with? Was it acrylic?
And then I used dilute acrylic paints from
Okay.
Michaels
Okay.
to just wash it. A little dry brush with a lighter color to bring out some of the highlights.
I think it looks great. I do. I think it's right on the money. It looks like the desert to me.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
it probably weighs about 600 pounds.
Yeah. All right, let's pause it. All right, so tonight we're going to end our run session. Jim, what are we going to have? A little local, do a little switching?
The Belen to Belen turn coming into Argonia
Uh-huh.
to switch a few cars.
Okay. We're going to switch a few cars down here. We got some guys there, and here comes our local. And this will end the...
The Belen to Belen turn.
this is the second trip guys coming out here.
That's a pretty local. Do a little switching.
Yes, now what I need to do is
All right, while you're doing that, let's see what's in this. Just a little local. Okay, and a local backs in.
So what I've got here is what I call a grade brake, and I'll show you how it works when we pull the train away.
Okay.
These free-rolling cars will take off on their own on a slight downgrade, so when you're putting them on the main without power, you have to keep them from rolling away. So I have this device here,
Oh, where's the piece that...
right there between those two.
Oh, okay.
white-
Where's the pointer? I don't see it.
It's right,
Ah, there it is.
okay.
And this pops up.
That pops up with a control on the fascia.
This right, and let's
Right
pop
there,
it down.
yeah.
Oh, and it goes down.
So then now,
And
and
then-
when it's up,
Right.
to let the engineer know, there's a dumpster fire right here.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, if you forget to put that up, it's going to cause some, or put it down, I should say.
Yes. So you don't want that to be up. So there's your warning, the dumpster fire.
Right. And then these guys here, they don't care, man. They're
They don't give a damn.
They don't give a damn. But Jim, I really appreciate you showing us this layout and running some trains.
You're
really
welcome.
do.
I'm glad you came to visit.
And how long did it take you to build this so far?
Like I may have mentioned earlier, I started the railroad in the early 80s. It was the B&O Mountain Railroad.
Uh-huh.
After rail fanning the Santa Fe a number of times, I decided to change it around, and I took about half the layout down, rebuilt the layout with the peninsula, which wasn't there originally.
Right.
That was in the late 90s.
Okay.
So as we see here, this railroad's been around for, what, more than 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
So it's taken a long time.
But
you're never done with the model railroad.
No, you're never done.
You're never done.
Well, thanks so much for sharing this with us.
You're welcome.